Hi guys, welcome to today's vlog. Today I'm going to be talking about something that kind of made me reflect on how I communicate love and how I take it from others, and that's love languages. We're going to be talking about a little bit from the textbook and my experiences with the quiz. So specifically, my love language after taking the quiz is acts of service, and doing that quiz and reading made a decent impact on how I view relationships after diving into the Gottman method and emotionally focused therapy in the textbook. So what I learned about myself is that when I did the exercise, it just clicked for me. I kind of realized that I feel most loved when someone helps me and takes something off my plate, like doing the dishes, picking up the car, or even handling a task I didn't ask them to. It's not that I don't necessarily appreciate like words or physical gifts, I do, but actions show care in a way that speaks directly to me, and it just shows like they're willing to put in that effort. According to Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages, acts of service is all about doing things you know your spouse would like you to do, and that totally resonates with me. But what most surprised me is that how this connects to conflict and communication styles in couples. So in section 9.4 in our textbook, we learned about the Gottman method and something called EFT, and those really helped me understand why some of my past disagreements didn't go great. So Gottman talks about the importance of changing behavior to improve relationships. And honestly, that makes sense with acts of service. If I see my partner following through on something that they said they would do, like going out on a limb to help me out, that's like an attempt that I really value. Even if they don't necessarily like fully go through with it, it's the effort that really makes it important to me. In fact, Gottman says repair attempts like telling a joke in an argument or giving a hug or just lightening the mood can help calm things down and build trust. For example, for someone like me, like a small gesture like handing me my favorite drink or handling dinner when I'm overwhelmed, or meal prepping for me can mean I see you, I care about you. And that makes me feel seen. So also Gottman talks about the 4 horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Those aren't great things. And I've realized I've gotten defensive when I kind of feel like my acts of service aren't really recognized. It's not really about the task, it's more about feeling unappreciated. He also mentioned something called the sound relationship house, where the walls are trust and commitment. And I think that's a really cool metaphor because it's kind of like trust, commitment are like the walls of the house, and acts of service are one way I try to build that trust and show that I'm reliable and emotionally present. So another thing, when I looked into emotionally focused therapy, it shifted my thinking a little bit more. So EFT focuses more on emotional safety and vulnerability, and I kind of realized how much acts of service is creating that space. So like when I do something for someone, like a nice thing, it's my way of saying, I want you to feel safe, supported, and secure. And this person named Sue Johnson is the person who created EFT, and she said, quote unquote, emotions are the music of the dance between lovers. And I love that idea because even though that I express love through doing, it's rooted in deep emotional care. Sometimes people kind of misconstrue acts of service as like doing chores, but it's really emotional work. It's recognizing what your partner needs and helping meet it without having to be asked. And that creates a secure bond. After learning all of this, I realized I could do a little bit better on communicating that acts of service is how I show love, but also understanding that acts of service might not be someone else's love language, and open to others on how they express that differently. I also might miss a partner's words of affirmation or quality time if I'm too focused on doing acts of service. So that's where emotional awareness and open conversations come in which both Gottman and EFT emphasize. Generally, moving forward, I want to practice on asking help for support and appreciating others' efforts in their love language, and making sure I don't take helpful acts for granted. Because again, especially with acts of service, it's like the thought that counts. So if someone does something like gives a gift, it's still that thought that counts. So I'm going to work on appreciating that more. So yeah, I learned a lot from this. Thanks for listening, and remember, whether your love language is words, time, touch, or service, it all really comes down to making me both of us feel safe and seen.